right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to On the Count podcast. I'm your host, Pedro Lugo, um, retired Federal Bureau Lieutenant. Now, also with me today, my guest is Big Richardson. Say hello, Big.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Pedro? How you doing today, brother?
I am doing awesome. It's been a great day.
Good.
Great to have you here. This is
Nice to be
one of
here.
those brother. This is one conversation I'm really looking forward to. You send me some information. I am not really going to get. I really want you to tell us about your story, but I want to go also begin a little bit. Also, we're going to go back because I want to know where you come from, what got you there, what you're doing now, and what are the things going on. So you ended up doing time in prison. Tell me a little bit about that.
Uh, well, it's actually an incidence of it is who you hang out with. You know what I'm saying? Me and my buddy was out partying one night. He ended up killing his cat, and he blamed it on me. Basically, when he got busted, he blamed it on me. Said that I did everything, put me in his place. So I went to trial, and I faced 2 counts of first-degree murder with an aggravated charge on each one of those. They called it a violent crime at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And second-degree robbery with a violent crime. So in all, I was looking at like 190 years in trial. But that really wasn't the big thing, is that I just turned 21, mind you, when this happened. The crime happened when I was still 20, just turned 21, and then this was put in my lap. But for the first 30 days that I went in, you could file a motion to stall and see if you want to file the death penalty, if you want to go for capital punishment or not. And so they had that. And at the end of that 30 days, when I went back to court, they asked for an extension on another 30 days. So for the first 60 days that I was in the county jail, not only was I looking at, even if they do, most likely they're trying to take my life. You know what I mean? So that was kind of rough. But that's why I went to trial for. I got found not guilty and got max of 8 years was the best they could give me. I did 6 of those.
21, and this was where?
Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. So 20, you were just turning 21. Let's go back. 21. All right. So what were you doing at the time and before that? How you're, and we also call you big. You are a big guy.
I am a big guy. Yeah, I am a big guy. I'm
always
300 pounds and 6'2". So yeah, I'm a big guy.
So you always been a large, a big guy in the crowd in school as well, or was this afterwards? And
well, I was always a big kid, mind you. In school, I hung out with the stoners and whatnot, you know, and the partiers. So I didn't get messed with, at least. I mean, you know, every now and then I did. You get tested, but it wasn't like what I was doing. Actually, was I was I was working for a mail review. I was repossessing cars and just living the time of my life before this all happened. Actually, we repossessed the cool cars after 4:00 on Friday because you can't turn offices closed down for the weekend. So you're not supposed to ride them around, but you know, as long as you don't get caught, you know. So we repossess the cars with the T-tops and you know the cool cars after 4:00, and we used them to stroll around. We had women all over at clubs that thought we was just lit, you know, loaded and stuff too. So we had a good life. I had a good life. I can't complain. That came at a terrible time. Well, I imagine there's not a good time for that.
No.
But it came at a terrible time in a young man's life. You know what I'm saying?
What year was that?
That was 1988. 1988. That's why I talk to people, you know, that have been in the joint nowadays, and I'm like, y'all soft, man. Y'all got cappuccino? Y'all got tablets? What? You know what I'm saying? That was unheard of, you know. So you guys got it easy. The only thing you lacking is women, you know, and the older you get, the more they complain. You in a safe place now, you know. I mean, I'm just saying, but I heard it's a little easier to get along now than it was.
Well,
That
yeah.
can
I mean,
some for like anywhere that's at least medium and below.
right, medium and below, because
Yeah,
penitentiaries are still always, the same. It's just
right.
not an easy life. Prison, and regardless, I don't consider it easy. It's a little bit easier some places, but it's just not easy at all doing time.
Not easy
Um,
altogether. I mean, and you get more as you progress through the system. But back in my day, medium was still rock and roll. The place that I went to was called Gladiator School, Buena Vista. That was called Gladiator School back in that day, and it was aptly named. It, it was
okay,
that's
so
a life to get thrust into when you're a young man.
so you were doing a whole bunch of work. You were doing work. You were hanging out. You had friends. You were Colorado. I've been to Colorado. It's a beautiful city, and I can imagine Denver, Colorado, back in the '80s, just rock and rolling. All I think about when I think about the '80s, I always think I used to hang out a lot in Miami, and I could think about Miami Vice and the show. That's what we always think
Right,
about.
right. Shoulder pads,
Um,
shoulder pads,
yeah, yeah, the shoulder pads
and all jackets,
um,
men and women. Yeah.
yeah, being trying to be Mr. Cool. So I can imagine that life in Colorado and bringing that up, and how that worked out. So at 20, you get arrested, correct?
At
Yeah.
21, this crime happened when I was 20. We were getting questioned, but at 21, I think I was 21 for all of 2 days when they arrested me.
And did they come knocking at your door? They picked you up. They had you down the station. How that worked out? I just
No, I went to go get my stuff from my friend's townhome, my fall partner's townhome. I went to go get my stuff, and actually, when I jumped out of the off of the balcony onto one of those big green, electricity cabinets or whatever it is. I jumped on that and hit the ground, and there were no police there before that, and there was a whole bunch after my feet hit the ground. That's what it was. They caught me coming out trying to get my stuff. I had been in and out of that townhome and that apartment, whatever. If it's got a balcony, it's a townhome, I guess. I've been in and out of that joint for 1,000,001 times. The one time that I'm going in, I've jumped up on that cabinet, up onto the balcony, and got in through the sliding glass door 1,000,001 times. This particular time, a lady across the street, I don't know if she just moved in, was new, called the cops. And because of the situation and who that address came back to, they just laid waiting for me to come out.
They were just waiting for you, and they swarmed. They come out of nowhere. It's like poof.
Yeah, I swear there was nobody there. And then the very next minute, there's cops everywhere. Please, if you move, I'll blow you away. I'm like, I'm not moving. If the wind moves my hair, please don't shoot me. Yeah, they had a gun, everybody, guns drawn. That was a trip.
That was a scary. It's a scary moment as well.
That was a scary moment. And then after that, that's when they took me down to the cop station, and I didn't see the light of day for 6 years. Well, I saw the light of day. All right, it wasn't that bad. I wasn't underground prison like Florence or nothing.
Nah, I
wasn't doing Supermax, but that was the last time I walked this earth as a free man until 6 years later.
Yeah, because Supermax is in Florence and is not far from Denver. And that's an incredible place to even do time, and how they do time. It's just there'll be a conversation for some other time.
That's like a 2-part show. Florence is no joke. So
yeah, I work with a lot of people that work there. I went there. I just didn't get to work in Florence. I've been to Florence. I've been to Denver. I've been to the other prisons right there in federal prisons in Denver and Colorado, but I didn't get inside Florence to see all that and how it worked. But I had some other friends that did work there, and they talked to me, and it's kind of a unique place. It's not.
That's Superman. That's the bad. That's the baddest of the bad right there. And I'm not even saying bad. That's the extreme worst of the bad is what Florence is. I mean, look, I did time, and I'm not. It isn't like I run up and shake every cop's hand that I ever see. All right, but I have nothing against police officers. I was in prison for 6 years. They built those things for a reason. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people in there I wouldn't want walking the streets. I'm older now. I have kids. I wouldn't want them as a neighbor on my street. You know what I'm saying? Unless they change their ways too. But we all got a wild side. Mine was just running with little more wild people, and maybe perchance my own lifestyle was a little more wild than the next guy's too. You know what I mean? But um,
But
I find it,
that's part of life. It's part
it
of
was a
life.
lesson to me. It was, you know what? I took it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let this just consume my entire life. I'm gonna do so. I'm gonna try to do something. Obviously, for some reason, whether it's due to a higher power of the universe, whatever you want to call it, for some reason, I wasn't meant to do that. I've been hit by 3 cars on my motorcycle. Various motorcycles. I don't believe I got a pick line that I'm dealing with for an infection from that like was supposed to mask itself off since 2000. So I'm cool with suffering, and I guess I'm meant to suffer. But I take that and I try to learn something from it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, let me ask you this one question I love to ask to people: how was that first day? Do you remember that first day that
The
they
first day
told you
or the
that
first
that gavel hits and you are, oh my God, I'm going to prison?
the first how did the very first day I listened to several people around me cry. I'm probably sure, in all honesty, I'm probably sure that a couple of teardrops probably fell down my face too. I didn't cry, so nobody could hear me. I wasn't going to pull that move. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't think that would be a good look at all. So but yeah, at the end of the day, reflecting, even in my ID, and I tried to find it somewhere around here. My old prison ID, for many years, I had it on my mirror on my dresser, and I looked at that, like, boy, don't fall back into that. You know what I mean? And I ended up doing some things that weren't so uh, forthright again, as you say. I never hurt nobody. I was just a purveyor of party goods, as and but you're not supposed to do that. And if you have so much cocaine, you're not supposed to have less than so many strippers. There's a ratio that you need to meet, and apparently I didn't meet it. So I got charged with that, and I disappeared for a long time. So it was like recently in the last few years, I've wrapped everything up. I'm good to go. And then I started getting I've always been in the entertainment business. I've been singing for the last 30 years that I've been out. You know what I mean? I've been singing and playing music, but my name's Big. Everywhere I go, they call me Big. When you're playing music, you don't necessarily deal with checks. So I didn't have to worry about paper. And if so, somebody in the band can get the check you put in their name. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it was okay. So I did make some further mistakes, but toned it completely down from what it was before. Life is a continual learning lesson.
Yeah, you're always learning. One thing, you say that, and it's funny because um, the one thing, like in eighth grade, that I picked up and I still haven't, that really kept an impression on me was this little sign on the store that I used to walk in just about every day. And the sign would say, and I will read it just about every day I walk in, and it's there. You have to read it. I don't think well of a man that knows less today than he did yesterday. So that always left. I was in eighth grade when I read
Right.
that, and that left an impression for me on me for the rest of my life. That still think about that. I don't think well of a man that knows less today than he did yesterday. So that let me know that I had to learn something every day. I had to keep learning. It's not just about one thing or this. Now you always constantly learning. Um,
Well, they made that saying for a reason. You learn something every day. You know
you
what I
do,
mean? So if you're open to learning it, you have to be open to learning it. That's the thing. If you're open to learning it, there is something that you can learn new every day.
yeah. If you're looking for it, you will find it.
Even a new perspective, if that's all that you learn is a new perspective. So,
Um, Big, tell me about that time in prison. 6 years. When you look back, I know, and this is what the thing is. When you look back at 6 years, it went fast. Because when 6 years, but you in there, it doesn't go fast. It's like time is just ticking. You see the minutes. I know I see people. I had one guy that will just, I asked him, man, you go to sleep so early. He was in bed early and he will get up, early in the morning just to make his time go a little bit easier. But he said, yeah, I don't want, first I try to sleep because is breaking me being here. And the best thing I can do is just sleep just to make my time shorter. And he got up early, so he will have his time and all these other things. But I was like, wow, I didn't think about that. Tell me a little bit about that time in prison while you were there.
Well, like that's what we called it when we would sleep. There's a lot of sleeping involved. You know what I mean? Because we would always say that we're robbing them of their time when we sleep. But the bad thing about that is there's some people that are doing some time for 6 years of my life. My mentality really didn't grow either because you take a person and put him in it's a storage situation, really. You know what I mean? I took advantage of things and I learned things that I could. I learned knowledge, but I didn't learn the way that society progressed. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't learn the things that were going on in the world where it mattered as such. So um, when you get out, it's like you get out. It's like waking up in one of those time warps in a movie, Hot Tub Time Machine. Oh shit! You're looking at stuff. You're like, wow, what kind of clothes is that this cat's wearing?
Uh
When you
huh.
get in there, you know what I mean. So um, stuff like that. It's lonely. You know what I mean? It's lonely. You might run into a couple of people that you avoid, but everybody that you rap to in there definitely is somebody that you got to make sure that they're good with everybody because whatever gets carried out on them could get carried out on you for hanging out with them. So you definitely got to watch who you run with and who you talk with. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Did you question? Did you hang out with anybody specific while you were in prison?
there was just a couple people. Um, I've always been a big guy, and I'm like, I don't like, contrary to popular belief, I don't like conflict. I don't like, you know, um, that kind of stuff going on. But I don't run from it. If there's going to be a conflict, we got a problem, I'll meet you halfway. You know what I'm saying? I won't run to it. And so I've always had that attitude. Thank God that was back in the day that it was because I did some stuff. I listened to all the time that I was in the county jail. I listened to those old timers and what they said and what they said to do and how to act. Don't get involved in this. Don't gamble unless you can pay your gambling debts. And don't gamble unless you can afford to lose it because that can make the difference of you smoking for the rest of the week or whatnot, which I guess is not even an option anymore, smoking. You know what I mean? But,
No.
um, just certain things. Don't get anybody gives you a hard time. I mean, my first time at DU, I broke somebody's arm for stealing my state issue underwear. When you first get there, um, I I said I got sent to the hole, so I started out in Buena Vista in the hole, um, and then came out of the hole and went and split some dude's head open with one of the things that you store the bowls with. Because I was scared to death of him. He was huge. And he called me a fish. And I'm like, I don't know why or how I'd never heard of that term the whole time that I was in jail. And so I'm thinking fish, tuna, pussy. Oh, I got your fish, champ. You know what I mean? And I said some really suave, which just showed how much of a fish I was. And he was like, he came over and sat down at the table that I was eating at. And he's like, when we get done with lunch, you meet me out on the dock, dude. You better meet me out on the dock. I got your fish. And I was like, oh, and one of the dudes I was sitting with was like, oh shit, DJ, yeah, he's not nice. And so when he walked in, he didn't even get a chance to look at me. I hit him he walked by me. I saw that thing leaning against the wall. I grabbed it, hit him in the head with, put him out. He was like catatonic for 6 weeks or so. And thankfully, he got released right after that. So he didn't have a chance to come back and retaliate. You know what I'm saying? The couple of moves like that I did pretty much ensured that nobody messed with me.
Yeah, you gain respect
Yeah.
off of
And
it
what
really quick from other
ensured that,
guys.
that was the big thing from talking to the old school guys. But anybody that I didn't get involved with, people, like I said, I have a couple people I ran with, and one of those was a black dude, which was really frowned upon, you know.
Right.
And it's like, you know what? Listen, I know this dude from the streets. He's actually, in my hustles, put money in my pockets. What have you done for me? I had one of um, the AB guys come at me, and if you ever get in any trouble, we ain't got your back. 'Cause I'm like, Did I come in here with you? I didn't roll up in this joint with you. You worry about your number partner. I'm gonna worry about mine. How's that? And that's just the attitude I took. And I still take that attitude. I'll talk with you for you. You know what I mean? For who you are. I'm not making any judgments or anything like that, until I get to know you a little bit. Then I'll judge you.
Yeah, you learning to deal with people for who they are and not
Yeah,
for what other
yeah.
people do.
I've
Yeah.
always been like that. I was raised in a musical family. So I've always been like that. Quite frankly, if you didn't play an instrument, you were like one of the oddballs. You know what I'm saying? So it was, yeah, I have black people, uh, Mexican people, white people, whatever, all kinds of people over at the house. As long as you could play music and was looking to do a gig, my parents that was their deal. That's what they did. I was fed on music, raised up.
All right. And we're going to talk. I'm going to ask you about that as well. I want you to tell me a little bit about that. But before that, while in prison, anybody that left an impression or anybody that guide you through that time? You were in Denver in the same prison all 6 years. Or did you switch around? Did you?
Well, I progressed. Luckily for me, I just look slow. You know what I'm saying? You don't, you don't have to hit me in the head with a brick more than once, maybe twice, to get the point through. And my little things that I had done, the situations that I got into, like with breaking that cat's arm and hitting DJ in the head, those situations that I got into helped me where I didn't have to get into too many more like that in the future. And then I realized too that, hey, I just need to keep my head, because every time you get in trouble, you get sent to the hole. But not only that, all of your stuff that you can accumulate through your time, that gets sent home. I wanted to get out of there. I did 2 more years on an 8-year sentence than what I had to, because the parole board kept setting me back. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to get out there. So I progressed through. The last 2 years I did was in an honor camp. Most people hit an honor camp and they're there for 6 months. I was there for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Set back. But I'm also at the honor camp, so I'm not going to screw up even if I'm pissed, because I've got some amenities there that I like. Somebody could come and visit and bring food from the outside. I'm not going to fuck that up. You know what I'm saying? The little things that you can get to grasp onto that make your day's worth even getting up, you're going to lose those if you get in trouble. So I didn't really get in too much trouble. I did my time. I progressed through the system. Unit A&O, when you get an A&O, you can't get anything but a radio and some books and like some coffee off the commissary. Then you can get a TV. Once you get into Unit 1 and then South Wing, they actually got like a pool table in the wing, which was like some of the most traumatic stuff I've ever seen in my life happened in South Wing. I watched the people get killed. That was like wild how they got killed, and that was very brutal. But then if you can make it out of South Wing alive and without getting any cases, you go up to East Wing, where they allowed you to have your own tennis shoes, and you also could have in like street clothes sent in for pictures. So like when you did pictures and stuff, and then they started letting us wear our street clothes, period, if we were in East Wing, which was pretty cool. But if you got in trouble, you had to send all that back. And they're always forever changing rules, but everything gets grandfathered in. So if you got one of those big stereos with the detachable speakers, they quit allowing that madness to be sent in. If you had one of those and got in trouble, that got sent home, and you had to get the little bitty double speaker, 2 cassette player, thing that they had going for $100 that was worth 25.
Right.
So,
And yeah, those big things, speakers, and the thing for us, my side that I had, it just made a great hiding place for some other guys, and we had to take it apart just to be able to look at it and
that was our job.
And put it back. Yeah, it's your job. My job is to find it. I always tell them, don't be mad at me because I'm doing my job.
And I never was. You know what? One of the best scenes that I seen was in that Robert De Niro and Pacino in Heat, I think was the movie, when he's telling him, I'm mad at you for doing your job. That's your job. My job is to break the rules. Your job is to catch me. But you're the good guy. You're not supposed to be breaking rules like me to catch me. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I really like that scene. Yeah, I ain't mad at you, and I ain't mad at cops. When I get pulled over to this day, I'm like, you got me. What was I doing? You know what I'm saying? If I get pulled over for speeding, because that's about all it really is anymore. You thank God. Knock on wood. I finally, I have retrieved my head fully from my ass, so I see clearly now. A little bit more so at least.
And it happens. You said you it didn't help you. It the prison helped you. You said it didn't really help you grow mentally, but it did just change some things. Why did it not help? Some people do might grow mentally, but why did it not help you grow mentally? What were you referring to? Oh, hold on. I want to refer something also back. I want to make clarification. Those that don't know what the hole is, okay, the hole is the special housing unit, is the jail within the prison. When you do something wrong, we have to put you somewhere. Okay.
It's like a room in the prison.
Yeah. It's the jail inside the prison. We got to get you out from the general population, and this is where we're going to put you at. And you in there, that's tough time doing time in the hole, because that's 23 hours in a 12x8 at the biggest.
It's 20 hours now, because they broke down on everybody about giving us that hour.
You got to have that hour. We got it's just
3 days, and you got an hour, which included your shower.
Yes.
So really, you got 30 minutes, because that is no sunlight. You got 30 minutes of a little bit of yard. They let you out with sunlight coming in through the little squares.
That's tough time. That's tough time. And I was one of I ran a special housing unit for a few years, and that was tough dealing with those guys. And that's hard time. That's just a whole different story, talking about a special housing unit, which they talk about all the time, that hour, whatever, and the damage that it does to some people. But so you say, tell me why you say you didn't grow mentally.
Because I kind of rephrase that. I grew mentally as in knowledge, but as ways of the world, the things of society. Okay. You're stagnant because you're not around society. Well, you're in a completely different society. Things aren't the same when you get out, and you need to realize that things that may be considered a respect issue in the joint, it's no big deal out here. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a crowded place and somebody steps on your foot, my bad. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You do that shit in the joint, there could be a stabbing behind that. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody owes you $3 out here, it's no big deal, man. Get it to me when you can. If you're down and out that much for $3, get a better hustle, partner. You know what I'm saying? When you in the joint, $3, there's a whole lot of repercussions that you may suffer.
And it really has nothing to do with the money.
It's the principle of the matter. It's a respect issue that you got to just come and get my stuff from my store. Like, you don't have to worry about anything. You can just play you use your card whenever you want. No, it ain't like that. You can disrespect me like that and get my stuff and not pay me. Everything in there is a respect kind of issue foundation. You know what I mean? So.
Right, that's big survival in there. I got Keone with us, just joined us.
So what you're saying, Big, is you're eventually going to give me my $3.
Eventually. Ain't no big deal out here. Get a better hustle if you need it that bad.
I just want to take a second to recognize the patch on Big's shoulder that says "nipples make me smile."
Well, they do. Who doesn't smile at a nice nipple?
I want to ask you a question about when you went to jail. When you went to jail, you were already 6'2", right?
Yeah. I don't think I grew anymore. I was like 20.
And were you 300 pounds or 220, 250? What were you?
Oh, when I went to jail, I was 189 pounds.
Okay, you were 189 pounds. Pedro, when someone comes to jail and they're big, how does that work compared to someone who comes in and is visibly small? Because we know small doesn't mean you're weaker or less tough, but we know that misconception that's a big ass dude over there. Oh, and who's this little guy? Um,
Well, the difference is one thing that he said. He's big, he's
mhm.
tall, he's a little bit taller than him. So the first thing everybody's going to try him. Somebody's going to try him because they want to know what if this big guy can hold his own or he can't. Then if he can hold his own, the other thing is some people want to recruit him.
Yeah.
That is going to happen automatically. They want to recruit him. I want him on my side. Somebody's going to offer him. And it's really for him to make that difference. Well, this is not my crowd. This is not what I do. And it really depends on the prison. Penitentiary, you got to have a group. You just can't break the rules. You were in a medium prison, so that kind of makes a big difference on how you behave as well. Little guys, um, if you're a little guy, and I'm talking about you come in, they're gonna try you as well. So you gotta come in. You gotta come in and do what he did. You gotta hit somebody hard,
Mhm.
and we know that's going to happen. Okay, because they are going to be taken advantage of. Because
Now, how
I've
do you
seen it.
now
I've
how do
seen it.
now how do you as a guard hold that against someone? Let's say I go to prison and sometimes you can tell, look, if I'm one of those guys, look, hey, I'm in here whether I'm innocent or not. I just want to do my little 3 years, 4 years. I don't want no problems. I don't want that. But I've got people trying me in the first hour, and then I do something about it. How hard do you come down on me? I'm not coming in with the lip and trying to prove something. I'm just trying to, navigate. And
Well,
so,
and the problem is like
You don't
anything
have.
it doesn't matter. The rules and regulations are there. I have to follow them.
yeah.
Okay. Am I going to encourage you to do something wrong? No.
Mhm.
Okay. But I also know when I'm in that, you come in that position, if you have to make that sign of respect, you got to do it because it's your survival. It's not mine. I'm there 18 to 16 hours
Mhm.
and I'm there 5 days a week. You're there 24 hours, 365 days. You got to deal with the other situation when I'm not there. So I got me as a staff, a part of, the correctional staff. I'm, supervisory. I'm going to try to minimize those situations, but I can't really control every situation because we can't be there at all the time. What those guys will do, they will come. We will try to help them as much as
Mhm.
possible, put them in a good area, put them around good people, give them good jobs so we can keep them away from other situations. But once
Do-
in the housing unit, and the housing unit locks in at 9 o'clock, between 9 and six
We're
o'clock
going
the
to
next morning, 5 o'clock
chow,
is,
sleep 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, chow.
it's you are pretty much at the mercy of somebody else.
So my
And there
last,
was still and there's still staff there, but it's minimum staff. Okay, you can think about I have um, a very I have in a housing unit I have 150 300 inmates at one time and maybe 1 to 2 staff members.
Three tops,
so
yeah. You have to
so
say yourself.
so both you and Big, you being former uh, corrections officer and Big being a former inmate, you both understand what's going to happen. Even though you've got to follow up Pedro and hold him accountable because it's the rules, but you understand. Is that what we're getting at? Like I
Yes,
understand.
I understand. We understand.
Mhm.
Most of us, I would say, that work in a prison understand the situation.
Mhm.
Okay, do we agree with everything? No, we're not going to agree with it. We have to try to fix it. But what we try not to have is total anarchy. That's what I would say. I don't want to have anarchy. Okay, I do have to have some guys that will control situations. One thing I had and I figured this out as a counselor, for me not to have anarchy in my unit. I have one guy, and he was the big guy. He's 6'7", 300 pounds. I said, well, I'm gonna come to you to help me out. I don't want violence or anything like that, but you need to talk to these guys. This is what I want. You can be the guy to communicate between me and them, and we can solve some issues. They can come to me anytime, and they did. So that kind of alleviates some of it. prison is always going to have, you got to have your group leaders. You go to you got to know your people, and that as an officer, me as a lieutenant, I knew who ran the ABs, who was running the the disciples, who was running this gang. Or I had to know who was who, so I knew who to go to.
And those conversations were held in the middle of the night when they were pulled out quietly to
Right.
hold. If you've seen talking to a screw, well, you know what I mean. That's what they call prison guards. If you were seen, they call them all kinds of things. If you
Yeah.
seen talking to the man, you're a snitch. And he's talking about we can put people in do this, yeah, but that's PC, bro. And we all know who those check-ins are too. And sooner or later they'll hit the yard again. Chances are, especially if they do something to fuck up PC. So that's a really that's a well thought road if you want to take that one.
Well, I think he's not talking about the rats or the PCs and people talking
No.
about. He's talking about because one of
No,
my
you got your people that you can rap to about stuff. Yeah, I totally get that. But he's still having those conversations outside of the public.
But I got a question for you, Big. But I know he's talking about like the leaders of
Right.
that. The leaders can do whatever the hell they want. But within, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, Big, was there anybody while you were there that you saw that says, I'm not coming back, and they left and they came back? And did that hit you in any type of way in your decision of like, you knew once you were getting out, this is not a return trip for me?
Well, I guess because I had been in and out of jail several times. Apparently, I never got the memo correctly. You know what I mean? On how to act or whatnot. So yeah, you know what? I watched several people go in and out, and then it would just further. Man, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that with them. When I got out and I was on parole, and there was just things like, I got to do this. This is stupid. I got to do it. And in my previous years, I would have told him, pound sand up your ass. I'm not doing this stupid shit. But I did it all because I didn't want to go back. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to I always said, I'm not going to let them win again. I'm not going to let them win. They're not going to take control of me again, because there's complete control. You tell me when I can go to the freaking bathroom. If I take a walk, I can only walk so many steps that way before I'm going to get shot for touching the barrier. You know what I'm saying? Or that way. I watched a lot of dudes come in and out, and that did have an impact on me, because I'm just like, wow, how can you get out? You have no life. I always thought, I got people. I had a great life when I got busted. You know what I'm saying? Things were happening for me. It was cool. So I had something. I always felt like I had something to be out there for too. You know what I mean? And in every way, shape, or form, yeah, it's better. So it's real easy to kind of keep that. I think if you don't have an opportunity to hit that at some point, and usually it really doesn't come until after a couple of years, that you hit that wall that you're like, God, this is my life. You know what I mean? This is. If I don't get my shit together, this is going to be my life the rest of my life.
When was that moment for you?
That moment for me was.
Sometimes we remember those moments.
That moment for me was like probably in 2006. I wasn't sitting in the jail cell. That's when I finally got my shit together. The one that when I was in prison, I think I was like 3 years in, maybe 4 years in, and I'd been at the honor camp, and at the honor camp, usually they'll put you in for the community placement. You know what I mean? Get transition. I was placed. You can only be submitted 3 times. I was submitted 3 times and denied 3 times. They wouldn't take me a community, because even though my prior record wasn't a big deal for the most part, I did have a strong armed robbery on there, which was bullshit, but it stays on your record. It doesn't say it doesn't say what the outcome of that is. It just says you were charged with it. You know what I mean? So, but misdemeanor, shit. I don't know why they would keep letting me go, but I would get arrested on a ticket. I'm running around. I'm running the streets, man. I got money to either get high, buy something to eat, pay for somewhere to stay, or pay this fine. Well, check this out. This fine's going to take a back seat. And they keep arresting me and keep it. So I have 1,000,001 FTAs. I'm like, so they wouldn't take me because of my extensive misdemeanor record.
Yeah, that kind of hurts you.
Yeah, it was about that time that I'm like, wow, they won't even accept me. And I really have done shit. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of stupid shit. Nothing big, really. And I'm like, I'm not going to do this the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to. And so that played a big part of it in itself.
I'm laughing because I remember I got a guy that comes in and I'm looking at his record, looking at everything that he's done. I see why he's in prison now. And I'm like, and I looked at him and say, looking through this, have you realized you're just a stupid criminal? So it's time for you to change. Okay. Because all this land you here and now is incredible, it's hurting you, but he really ain't done nothing before coming to federal prison that was like, wow, massive. It's just stupid stuff constantly getting caught in stupid shit. I was like, dude, did you realize this a few years back that you're just not a good criminal? Let's switch this. You need a change.
Oh, shit. And it used to make me laugh. The cons that are like, I've been to wall and sing and blah, 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 and this joint, I did time to back with Bill. And, it's like, I look straight at him and go, man, you need to pick a different career because obviously you ain't good at this one. You keep everywhere you go, every new state you go to, you wind up in the pen there, man. Do you ever think about it like that? I mean, I'm sorry. Look, you're going to know me for a while. This would be the first time ever, really, that I've ever talked about this in an open forum. So other people that may be watching or whatnot might know a little bit more about me than the next. Actually, will know a lot more about me than the next person because I don't talk about this that often. This to me isn't a point. They act like, especially them cons that have all them joints under their belt. They act like that's a point of content. That's like that made them the man they are. I'm like that. I'm sorry. I just don't. Within meeting me after 5 minutes, I don't tell you. Yeah, I've been in the joint, and I don't do. I never did. Because why am I going to put myself in that light? I know how people are going to think of it's that snap judgment. You know what I'm saying? Once you've known me for a while and I don't run from it. If somebody says, have you ever done, I'll be honest. Yeah. But I'm not going to sit there and talk about it with them either.
Yeah. Some people use it as a badge of honor.
And
there is none. There is none.
I don't get it. And being I will plainly state that there are differences between an inmate and a convict.
Oh yeah.
All right. I was a convict. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not no soft fella. You know what I mean? But it's just at a point you got to realize that this is stupid. This doesn't make you a badass. And I got news for you. If you can't fight on the streets just because you go to the prison, it doesn't mean that you come in like whipping ass like Jackie Chan. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't shit on the streets, you ain't shit when you get to the joints, quit acting like it because you will get found out. You know what I mean?
And it will happen.
Yeah.
I had an inmate ask me this question one time. We were sitting and I was in the laundry room and I was doing my job, and he said, like, he walks in and he looks at me and said, he said, I've been watching you and I've been there like 2 years. I was an officer. You okay? What if, what if this happens? Or, what will you do? What will you do if right now, if we try to take over or whatever, if I come in here and try to fight you? I said, why are you asking me that? You trying to fight me? No, I'm just asking. Well, we'll have to fight. What about these? Listen, I said, I treat you all, try to be fair, especially here at night, working after that door locks. I have 198 guys in here with me.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I could take over this unit at any time. It's just one of me. Okay, it's just one. So I'm going to treat you with respect. I'm going to do my job as long as you But don't think because I'm doing my job or I'm just treating you with respect, that doesn't mean that I'm just soft.
Right,
You come at me, we're gonna fight. We're
Yeah,
gonna fight, right? And I'm not Jackie Chan, and this is not gonna happen like movies. And I know that much, but I told him if that happens, I know I could take 2 or 3 of you with me.
right,
Period. I
exactly.
can tell you that much. After
Right.
that, I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is how much. And he just laughed. He said, "No, you okay with us? You okay with us? Just do your job. You doing your job."
Well,
And the guy
I
left.
mean, there are cops that if shit was to jump off like that, that people will go and make sure they don't have anything happen to them
Yeah,
because they're good cops. They're just doing their job. But I'm talking about the cons. They come in there like acting like they're a big badass because they seen some prison movie and they wasn't shit on the streets. You ain't shit when you come in there. Some dude has, yeah, I got 3, 4 hoes, 6 Cadillac. Hey, can I get one of them rollies, baby? You know what I mean? Why
yeah,
you ask me for a roll your own cigarette when you got 3, 4 hoes on the street? You got all this stuff, you got all these cars, you got all this money. Why are you asking me for a roll your own cigarette, man?
yeah.
So
They tell these stories.
yeah,
They
coming
want.
there high side and stuff, and that's why I mean, even more so than the regular Joe should, I believe damn near zero of what I hear. They say you believe a half of it, or a quarter. I believe none of it, and some of it that I see, I have to doubt myself too. Is that
Yeah.
Photoshop? Is that Photoshop?
Um, all right. One thing. You say you grew up in a musical family.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, actually, my dad was one of the original gang of the band Sugarloaf. So, but
Wow.
that didn't come to fruition for him. He didn't run off with the other guys because his dad didn't support it. But my mom sang in the band, and my dad, they played all over Denver, and other parts. They went out to Wyoming and played gigs, and like the states located close to Colorado because she didn't want to go too much on the road because of me. But yeah, that's what I was raised up. It was music that fed me. My dad played lead guitar. My mother sang. I started out as a drummer. Then I ended up singing when I got hit by the car, and it took my foot out. So that's how that was. It was cool. My dad was like it was back in the day though when live entertainment was on hit. You know what I mean? It wasn't. That was back in the day before DUIs came about. Where they just suggested that you don't get all tore up and drive. And if they pulled you over, they might follow you home or something. They didn't arrest you. When those DUIs started happening, that changed a little bit for the industry. But yeah, for the most part, that's what I was raised on, and it was them playing music. So
you play the drums.
yeah, I wanted to play music, but I didn't want to be just like either one of them. So I ended up playing the drums, which is funny because I ended up having to sing like my mom did, anyways.
How things turn out. Okay. Yeah, how things can turn out.
Amen.
Wow. Um, okay. So tell me, you know what? Let me ask you this. What are you smoking?
I am smoking in honor of your show today. I am smoking a Gurkha Ruination, which is a very stout cigar, might I add.
Okay.
Very flavorful, very stout.
Very nice. I like cigars too. I will smoke a cigar once in a while. I just don't smoke them as much as I used to. It doesn't help me any.
I found that I'm much more attractive through a shroud of smoke. So that's why.
The cloud, yeah. Oh, that's pretty awesome. So tell me a little bit. What are you doing now? Are you doing anything musically? Tell us about what you're doing now.
I still play around musically. Right now, my driven is I'm an acting coach, and I'm also an actor. So I'm looking for my part. I'm looking for my role, and I keep submitting auditions, and it's right around the corner. So it'll be here soon, but that's what I've been doing. I was in LA, and I tried to get in music, and they wanted people that are like, please be between 22 and 23 to apply. You know what I mean? They didn't want no old folks up on stage with them. So I started getting I had a dude actually backstage at the Ronnie James Dio Ride for Ronnie for cancer. Was talking to some other guys Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses, actually, I was talking to him, and some dude came up when he walked away and asked me if I was in film. And I had a purple mohawk at the time, I believe, was wearing moccasins. And I was like, no, don't I look like a musician, for Christ's sake? You know what I'm saying? And he said, well, you should think about it. You have a unique look. So I started answering stuff, looking in Craigslist and answering stuff in LA. And then the pandemic struck. And then when the pandemic, I'm like, well, maybe this is a good opportunity for me to learn the industry a little bit better. I've been playing music for 30 years. I think I'm good with the knowledge of the stage for that kind of forum, but I need to learn some stuff about acting. I can perform, but I need to learn the ins and outs and whatnot. The first time I was asked to slate, I was like, oh, I'm sure I look just like my, just like my dog. What's that? So I ended up going to a class and then ended up going back to teach because I like to teach. So that's what I'm doing now, waiting for my big role and raising my daughters, which I just got done putting one into high school this year, registered for high school. And that's going to be fun. So we got to go through her wardrobe again before she walks out the front door.
Yeah, because we always wondering if everything that we did before in our past is going to come back and hunt us through our children, and we want to make sure.
I got daughters too. I'm like, you dirty old men, keep away from my babies. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk to nobody looks like me either, even though I am nice nowadays. You know what I'm saying? I try to be respectable anymore, somewhat.
But yeah, it's just everything's a continuous change and just continue to grow and trying to make.
So anybody that's watching this that's ever been in the joint have problems that they're facing, you know what? Listen, instead of running off and skipping them like I did, you're gonna have to face them sooner or later. It's gonna be there. It's never gonna go away. Face it. Get it out the way, because there's never a good moment in life that you have to get picked up to do that. You know what I'm saying? So face the music, be a man up, or lady, woman up, whatever the phrase is for that. Face what you did and get out and make something. I mean, do something better. I got something better now. You know what I mean? There's much more out there.
There is. A lot of people get stuck in that. Well, I went to prison and they can't get past that moment. And some people don't get the opportunity either. They give it to them to be able to move from that stage in their life into the next stage. You always a lot of people always forget that you got to start back over from the bottom. Some people want to say, well, I went to prison, but now they want to start in the middle, and there's nowhere you can start in the middle. You got to take it from the bottom, take it from the beginning, do it all over again, and grow from there. So
and there's always opportunities out there. It might not be the opportunity you want, but there are opportunities out there. So, take advantage of the ones that you have and do something with yourself.
Definitely.
Pay taxes like I do. See if these roads can get better. Jesus.
Keone can't hear you.
Yeah, especially if you don't know somebody. It's different when you get out and maybe a friend of yours owns a company and he gives you a good enough job, but he's been your best friend from high school or something. But everybody that's watched this shows already know what I'm gonna say, because Pedro always which is just talks about what we should do as prisoners, and then I always like to fill in. We still, and I'm gonna say it every show, we got to do better as a society for people who come out of prison and are trying to make that change, of helping them make the change instead of just labeling them all ex-con and acting like they're not worth it. Because there's too many people who get out and they're trying to do the right thing, but some people will hold it against them and not hire them. I understand if you went to jail for money laundering, we don't want to hire you at the bank. I get that. But we've got to do better as a society, because this is supposed to be rehabilitation, right?
Amen.
They're supposed to go serve their time, do their debt, and if they come out and they're trying to get on the straight and narrow, a guy is only gonna not sell drugs for so long if he's got 5 kids and no one will give him a job for the next 9 months. You know, so we just have to do better too.
And the other thing also that I think we falter a little bit is in trying to prepare them while they are in prison to return to society.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the other biggest part. Once they're in there in the system, um, we have to get them prepared. A lot
Oh,
of times,
Pedro, you know what? You just said a great thing because, like, when you, like, for instance, I was in the army 20 years. When you go on a deployment, you come back, you have this down period where you take all these classes, they do all these things. When you're getting out of the army, retiring or just getting out, they give you all these classes, all these services, they give you acclimated. We've seen guys that have been in prison 18 years and they're like, you're free, you leave in an hour.
That's
that's a
traumatic.
scary. It's a
God,
scary moment.
yeah, that's horrifying. As it's terrifying after 6 years, 18 years for God's sakes to do that to somebody. That's like putting them out with cars that fly compared to what was going on when they went to the joint. You know what I mean? You're right, and I agree wholeheartedly that there needs to be something to start acclimating and teaching them to act right and integrate them from the moment they reach the doors, the front doors.
Because
You
you know
know,
what? Society has this thing that once they're released, it's like a movie. They're gonna walk out and go, oh, and the heavens are gonna open up and it's free. I think Shawshank Redemption showed it best when they released that guy. I forget his name, the character. He was old, and he's like, I don't want to leave, and they're like, no, you're free. And he went, he got a job, he was doing well, and then he hung himself.
yeah,
Yeah,
Brooke. I think his car character's name was Brooke or
Yeah.
something like. Carved his stuff there.
Yeah,
Was here
that's
hanging right.
that's a real thing. You can't just turn it over and just say, "Hey, here you go."
Or you
Um,
put somebody out with $100. When I was in and you got released, you got $100 check and a set of clothes. All right, that looked like you just came from like Bible study or so. You know what I mean?
yeah.
hey,
And that's
babe,
what you got $100, and you get out. And you're supposed to do some people that don't have anybody, that you're supposed to do something with that. Most guys will go buy a piece off the black, out of the ghetto and go rob somebody because they don't want to do without.
hey,
You know,
you
that
win
happens.
you win if you go into jail in like 75 and then you come out in 95, you think, "Oh, $100," and you don't realize the prices of 95 are the same in
Yeah.
1975.
Oh man. Yeah, that
Yeah,
alone is
and that's an eye opener.
taking to walk
What
down the grocery
what
store.
we just gotta teach them about one thing is money, finance, and what is it that's coming. Because a lot of guys, I will ask those questions. You got money saved up? How much money you have? Who you have on the streets? Where are you going? What did you learn while you were here? And they gave me those answers, and some guys will give me the right answers, and I'll be like, great. Good luck. I'm not gonna see you again. Some other guys gave me the answers, and I'll be like, well, I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna keep the light on because you're coming back. You haven't prepared, and we really haven't prepared. My job is, as in corrections, as that part is not really prepared. It's just I have to keep the safety and
Basic.
security. That's totally different. But the whole system in general does not really prepare properly. Most of the people coming out. By the time you come out, yeah, we do have some class. Federal system is a little bit different than the state. We do
Yeah.
give them classes. We do try to help them, but still, I don't think the system does 100% and what needs to be done. It could be done, and we just got to do a little bit better on that. It's preparing them from day one. We always start preparing them like a year to 6 months before they get out. The time is not there.
And give them a
You got to
job.
prepare from
Make
the
some money.
day one.
You can't save money when you're making a quarter an hour. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So give them a job where they can save money. In Colorado, when I was in, the only thing that you could do that made money was go break horses in 4 Mile. But a lot of dudes would end up with injured for life trying to break horses, and you don't get nothing for that because you got to sign a waiver, so you can't hold the state accountable. Best you can ask for when you do get out is disability, and that really don't cover anything. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but giving them a job too before they get out that allows them to save a few dollars so they can
It
afford
helps.
somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Integration is key. And too many times, like you said, Keani, they just shove them out the door. You're done. I know a lot of instances they had a pre-release situation that they would send you to when I was in, but they would put you out. They never had any room to put people in pre-release, you know. So you'd end up getting released without any of those classes. Or the parole board would give you a date that was really quick, 3 or 4 weeks out. They don't have time to do the paperwork to put you over into pre-release.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
had a friend who used to run a halfway house, and he's like, my halfway house is always full. So I can't. He's like, it's never really halfway.
Yeah.
No.
He's like,
No.
I've got people in my halfway house that have been here for 3 years, and I'm like, when are you gonna get it together? And so it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is. Amen.
This was awesome, Big. Very
Right
awesome.
on. Thank you. It was fun. It was fun sharing with you, Pedro, and having the show. Keone, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. It's something I know about, unfortunately. So, but I try to take it as an experience and take it all in. You know what? I feel like this. Everything that I've done leading up to this point has made me me.
Well, Big, whoa, what happened? Big, I'm a bit of a jerk. I almost said when you said thank you for having me, I almost said, well, thank you for going to prison so you could be on the show. And then I was like, wait, why would I say that?
Because it comes to your mind right then and there. So
Yeah, because that's the way your mind clicks. It's all right.
You know,
Oh my God.
you know, it's always a little. You got to throw a little bit of comedy in there.
I don't even think I would take offense with that from John. I really don't.
I don't know who this John guy is, but all right.
Or from Keone, my bad. Hey, I've done good this entire time. So.
Yes, you did. You did. All right, Pedro.
All right,
Send us home, Pedro.
All right. Well, thank you everybody who joined us and listened to our interview with Big. Big, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Good luck and everything you got coming on. Keep going, keep growing, keep being you. I love watching you. I've watched you on some of the coaching that you've done. I think we have great interaction when we've been in the past. You're a fun guy to be around and do some of the things. Go ahead, Keone.
If you guys enjoyed watching Big, he's getting his own show on Keone Productions in September. Yeah.
There you go.
It's called Big. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, amazing, because you need to be amazing or you're going to be forgotten. So I need to be amazing. Yes, we're going to do all kinds of stuff too. I've got open format. We're going to just do some crazy stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Awesome. So closing out, I would say we got to keep a lot of things in mind about prison. We'll go keep talking about it. Next few guests, I'm going to bring in some people that's done a lot of work in prison as well. Some other people have done time, and definitely want to keep this conversation going about what needs to be done. What can we do? What can we do as a society to make it better for all of us? Because bringing people back when they come into prison, we are responsible as well. You just can't say, well, I'm not responsible. I am not my brother's keeper. I think we are. We do have to watch out for each other. It takes a village to be able to make everything grow and work better for all of us. So what I want to say is thank you, everyone, for being with us today. Great interview, Big. Hopefully we'll get to talk again. And anybody that would love to join us at some point in time, please send us any email. Our email is onthecount.podcast@gmail.com. That's onthecount.podcast@gmail.com. If you need to contact me, that's a great way to do so. If not, hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you all. Be blessed. Be safe. See y'all soon.